You are breathing right now. Air moves in and then out again. There is no instruction, no deliberate command, no effort to remember. It simply continues, quietly, steadily. Your heart is also beating, again and again, without pause, without supervision. You are not telling it when to contract or when to relax. It already knows. If you shift your attention inward, you may notice small sensations, a faint rhythm, a gentle rise in your chest, a subtle warmth in your body. These are not random. They are coordinated, organized, maintained continuously. And yet, most of the time, you do not notice them. This is where we begin. There is a system inside you, always active, always adjusting, always responding. It does not wait for your awareness. It does not ask for permission. It operates in the background, quietly managing the conditions of your life. This system is called the nervous system. At a simple level, the nervous system is a network, a vast collection of cells designed to send signals, receive signals, and interpret signals. These signals move rapidly, sometimes as electrical impulses, sometimes as chemical messages. Together, they allow different parts of your body to communicate, not occasionally, but constantly. Even now, as you rest, signals are moving, flowing through pathways you cannot see. There is no central moment when it starts, and no clear moment when it stops. It is continuous, like a quiet conversation that never ends. You might think of your actions as choices, decisions you actively make. And sometimes that is true. You can choose to move your hand, to speak, to stand up. But beneath those choices, there is a deeper layer of activity. Your posture is being adjusted. Your muscles are maintaining tension. Your balance is being corrected. All of this happens before you are aware of it, and often without you noticing at all. The nervous system does not only respond to your decisions, it prepares you for them. It shapes what you are able to do and how easily you can do it. It sets the conditions within which your conscious thoughts appear. In this way, much of your experience is guided, quietly structured, before you even realize it. There are moments when you become aware of this system, but they are rare. You might notice your heartbeat after running, or your breathing when it becomes faster. You might feel your stomach shift after eating, or your skin respond to temperature. These moments stand out because the system becomes more visible. But visibility is not the norm. Most of the time, it remains in the background, steady, reliable, unnoticed. This quietness is not accidental. It is part of how the system works. If every process demanded your attention, you would not be able to focus. You would be overwhelmed by constant internal signals. Instead, The nervous system filters, prioritizes, and manages information. It decides what reaches your awareness and what remains below it. This allows your conscious mind to stay clear, while deeper processes continue uninterrupted. You can imagine this as a kind of control room, not loud, not chaotic, but calm, organized, continuously active. In this control room, signals are received, adjustments are made, responses are sent out. There is no single operator, no single point of control. Instead, it is distributed, spread across many regions. Each part contributes. Each part communicates, creating a system that is both complex and stable. This stability is important because your body depends on balance. Certain conditions must stay within narrow ranges. Your temperature, your blood pressure, your oxygen levels. If these change too much, your body cannot function properly. The nervous system helps maintain this balance by constantly monitoring and adjusting. It does this without pause, without rest. Even when you sleep, the system remains active. Your breathing continues. Your heart keeps beating. Your body repairs itself. You are not directing these processes, but they are still happening. This is one of the most consistent features of the nervous system: its independence from conscious control. This independence does not mean separation. Your conscious mind and your nervous system are connected. They influence each other, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. A thought can change your heart rate. A memory can affect your breathing. At the same time, changes in your body can influence your thoughts. This relationship is continuous and often subtle. But even with this connection, much of the system remains outside your awareness. It does not need your attention to function, and it does not depend on your understanding. It has developed to operate reliably across many conditions, adjusting to changes, responding to challenges, maintaining stability. When you move through your day, this system is continuously active. As you walk, it coordinates your muscles. As you eat, it regulates digestion. As you rest, it shifts your body into recovery. Each moment involves countless small adjustments, most of which you never notice. Over time, this creates a kind of background rhythm, a steady pattern of regulation that supports everything you do. It is not dramatic. It does not call attention to itself. But it is essential. Without it, even simple actions would not be possible. This leads to a quiet realization, one that is easy to overlook. Much of your life is being managed without your direct involvement. Your awareness is only one part of the process, not the entire system. Beneath your thoughts, beneath your decisions, there is ongoing activity. Steady, coordinated, continuous. You do not need to control it, and in most cases, you cannot. What you can do is notice. Notice the breath. Notice the rhythm. Notice the quiet stability that is already present. This noticing does not change the system, but it brings it slightly closer to awareness. And from here, we can begin to understand it more clearly. Not all at once, but step by step, layer by layer. We will start by looking at how this system is organized, how its different parts are structured, and how they work together. If you gently shift your attention inward again, you may begin to sense that this quiet system is not a single thing. It is not one piece, not one location, not one simple pathway. It is a structure, layered, organized, and distributed throughout your body. To understand it, we can begin with a simple division. Two main parts, working together, continuously exchanging information. The first part is the central nervous system. The second part is the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. It is the core, the main processing center. The brain receives information, interprets it, and coordinates responses. The spinal cord acts as a pathway, carrying signals between the brain and the rest of the body. It also handles certain responses on its own, without needing to involve the brain. These responses are often fast and automatic. They are designed for efficiency and protection. Even here, you can see a pattern. Some processes involve awareness, while others do not. Surrounding this central system and extending outward is the peripheral nervous system. This includes all the nerves that branch out from the brain and spinal cord. These nerves reach your muscles, your skin, your organs. They form a vast network, connecting nearly every part of your body. You can imagine this as a wide web, or a network of pathways. Signals travel along these pathways, in both directions, from the body to the brain, and from the brain to the body. This two-way communication is constant and ongoing. Information from your environment, such as temperature, pressure, or movement, is carried inward, toward the central system. At the same time, instructions are sent outward, guiding muscles and internal processes. This continuous exchange allows your body to adapt, moment by moment. Within this larger structure, there is another important distinction, one that shapes how you experience control. Some parts of the system are voluntary, and some are automatic. The voluntary part is often called the somatic nervous system. This is the part you can influence directly. When you choose to move, when you lift your hand, turn your head, or take a deliberate step, you are using this system. It connects your thoughts to your muscles, allowing intentional action. This form of control feels familiar because you can sense it happening. You decide, and then the movement follows. It gives the impression that you are directing your body. But this is only part of the picture. Alongside it, and often more active, is the automatic system. This is known as the autonomic nervous system. It operates without conscious effort, without deliberate control. It manages processes that must continue, whether you are paying attention or not. Your heartbeat, your breathing patterns, your digestion. These are guided by this system. Unlike voluntary movement, you cannot simply decide to stop these processes. They are regulated automatically, adjusted continuously. This ensures stability and consistency. It also reveals something important. Most of the activity within your body is not under direct conscious control. It is managed through automatic pathways, designed to operate reliably in the background. The voluntary and automatic systems are not separate in function. They are connected. They influence each other and often work together. For example, you can choose to hold your breath, but only for a limited time. Eventually, automatic processes take over, restoring the rhythm of breathing. This interaction shows that control is shared, not absolute. Your awareness can guide certain actions, but deeper systems maintain the foundation. As you move through your day, these layers are always active. The central system processes. The peripheral system communicates. The voluntary system directs. The automatic system sustains. Together, they create a coordinated whole. This coordination is smooth and often unnoticed. You do not feel signals traveling along nerves or messages being processed. You experience the result, not the mechanism. This is why the system can remain hidden, even though it is always active. It works quietly, beneath the surface of awareness. If you pause again and notice your body, you may sense the outcome of this structure rather than the structure itself. A steady posture, a balanced breath, a stable rhythm. These are signs of coordination. The system is not static. It is dynamic, constantly adjusting. Signals rise and fall. Responses shift and adapt. All of this happens in a structured way, guided by the organization we have described. The central and peripheral systems, the voluntary and automatic pathways. These are not abstract ideas. They are physical, biological, measurable. They form the foundation of how your body functions. Understanding this structure does not change how it operates, but it allows you to see more clearly what is already happening, quietly, continuously. And from here, we can move deeper. into one part of this system, the part that operates most quietly and most constantly. Within this larger system, there is a layer that works almost entirely outside your awareness. It does not wait for instruction, and it does not depend on attention. It continues whether you are focused, distracted, or asleep. This layer is called the autonomic nervous system. The word autonomic suggests independence, something that operates on its own. In this case, it refers to a system that regulates the internal state of your body without requiring conscious control. It manages processes that must remain stable for you to continue living. Your heart rate, your breathing rhythm, your blood pressure, your digestion. These are not occasional tasks. They are continuous, repeating moment after moment. The autonomic nervous system ensures that these processes stay within a functional range. It does this through constant monitoring and constant adjustment. Sensors within your body detect changes, small shifts in pressure, in oxygen levels, in chemical balance. These signals are sent inward, toward processing centers. In response, new signals are sent outward, guiding organs and tissues. This loop continues without pause. You can think of this as a feedback system. A change is detected. A response is generated. The effect is measured, and then adjusted again. Not once, but continuously. This allows your internal environment to remain stable, even as external conditions change. This stability is often described as homeostasis. It refers to the maintenance of balanced internal conditions within narrow limits. Your body temperature, your blood glucose levels, your fluid balance. These must remain within certain ranges for your cells to function properly. The autonomic nervous system plays a central role in maintaining this balance. It does not aim for stillness, but for stability through change. Conditions shift, and the system responds, making small adjustments, increasing, decreasing, fine-tuning. This creates a dynamic balance, rather than a fixed state. If you begin to notice your breathing again, you may see this in action. The rhythm is steady, but not identical each time. It changes slightly, adapting to your body's needs. Faster at times, slower at others, without deliberate control. The same is true for your heart. It does not beat at a perfectly fixed rate. It adjusts, responding to activity, to rest, to internal signals. These adjustments are guided by autonomic pathways. This system remains active at all times, even when you are not aware of it. During sleep, it continues to regulate breathing, circulation, and repair processes. You are not directing these changes, but they are still occurring. Steadily, reliably. This constant activity can be difficult to notice because it does not demand attention. It does not create strong sensations, unless something shifts significantly. Instead, it operates quietly, maintaining conditions in the background. When the system is working well, it remains almost invisible. You do not feel your blood pressure adjusting or your digestion progressing. You experience comfort, stability, ease, without noticing the processes that create them. At times, the system becomes more noticeable. A faster heartbeat, a deeper breath, a shift in internal sensation. These moments can draw your awareness inward. But even then, you are only sensing the outcome, not the full process behind it. The autonomic nervous system does not act alone. It is connected to other parts of the nervous system. It receives input and sends output as part of a larger network. But its role is distinct. It focuses on regulation, on maintaining internal conditions, on keeping your body within functional limits. This role is essential because many of these processes cannot be paused. Your heart must continue beating. Your lungs must continue exchanging gases. Your cells must continue receiving nutrients. These are ongoing requirements, not optional actions. By managing these processes automatically, the system allows your conscious mind to focus elsewhere. You can think, speak, move, without needing to control every internal function. This separation supports efficiency and reduces cognitive load. It also creates a kind of quiet support, a steady background of regulation that enables everything else you do. Without it, even simple actions would require constant effort. As you rest here, breathing gently, you are experiencing the result of this system, a stable internal state, maintained without your direct involvement. This is not something you need to create. It is already happening. And within this system, there are further layers of organization, different pathways, with different roles, working together to maintain balance. Within the autonomic nervous system, there is a further division, not a separation in space, but a difference in function. Two complementary processes, continuously shaping your internal state. These are often described as the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. They are not opposing in the sense of conflict, but in the sense of balance. Each one adjusts your body in a different direction, and together they maintain stability. One prepares you for action. The other supports rest and recovery. One increases activity. The other reduces it. Neither is always on, and neither is ever fully off. They exist on a spectrum. If you imagine a simple switch turning on and off, this would not be accurate. The system does not work in sharp transitions, but in gradual shifts. A more accurate image is a dimmer, slowly increasing, slowly decreasing. adjusting continuously. The sympathetic system is associated with activation. It becomes more active when your body needs to respond to movement, to challenge, or to change. It prepares your body to act. When this system becomes more active, your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes quicker. Your muscles receive more blood. Energy is made more available, and certain processes, like digestion, may slow down. These changes are not random. They are coordinated, designed to support action. This response is often called fight or flight, but the name can be simplified. It is a state of readiness, a state where your body is prepared to respond. It does not always mean danger. It can occur during exercise, during focus, or during any form of increased demand. At the same time, there is another process, quieter, slower, but equally important. The parasympathetic system supports rest, recovery, and maintenance. When this system becomes more active, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, digestion becomes more active. The body shifts toward restoration. This state is sometimes called rest and digest. But again, the meaning is broader. It is a state of conservation, where energy is used efficiently and repair processes are supported. These two systems are always interacting, not in isolation, but in coordination. At any moment, both are active to some degree. The balance between them shifts, depending on your needs. If you stand up and begin to move, sympathetic activity increases slightly. Your heart adjusts. Your blood pressure stabilizes. If you then sit down and relax, parasympathetic activity becomes more prominent. Your body settles. Your internal rhythms slow. This constant adjustment allows your body to remain flexible, able to respond, and able to recover. Without this balance, the system would become unstable. It is important to notice that neither system is better. Neither is the correct state all the time. Both are necessary, and both serve essential functions. Activation allows you to engage with the world, to move, to respond. Recovery allows you to restore, to repair, to maintain long-term stability. The health of the system depends on the ability to shift between these states. If one system dominates for too long, balance can be affected. Prolonged activation can place strain on the body. Prolonged inactivity can reduce responsiveness. The system is designed to move, to adjust, to find equilibrium. This movement is often subtle and gradual. It does not happen in sudden jumps, but in continuous variation. A slight increase, a slight decrease, small adjustments over time. If you return again to your breathing, you may notice this balance. The inhale, slightly activating. The exhale, slightly calming. A natural rhythm of gentle change. This rhythm reflects the broader pattern within your nervous system. Activation and recovery, increasing and decreasing, adjusting without effort. Even when you are not aware of it, this balance continues as you listen, as you rest, as your attention drifts. These systems remain active, maintaining stability. Over time, this balance creates a baseline, a general level of activity that can shift when needed. This baseline is not fixed. It can change with experience, with environment, with patterns of behavior. But in each moment, the system is working to maintain equilibrium, not through stillness, but through continuous adjustment. This is why the dimmer metaphor is useful. It captures the gradual nature of change, the smooth transitions, the absence of sharp boundaries. You are not switching between states. You are moving along a range, sometimes closer to activation, sometimes closer to rest, always somewhere in between. This understanding can shift how you see your own experience. A moment of increased heart rate is not separate from calm. It is part of a continuum, a natural adjustment. A moment of relaxation is not the absence of activity. It is a different form of activity, focused on restoration. Both are expressions of the same underlying system, quietly regulating, quietly adapting. As you continue to rest here, you may begin to sense this balance, not as a concept, but as a subtle pattern, a quiet rhythm within your body. This rhythm does not require your control. It does not need to be managed. It is already occurring, already adjusting. And as this understanding settles, we can begin to observe how this balance plays out across the course of an ordinary day. Imagine a single day beginning quietly before any deliberate thought appears. There is a gradual shift from sleep toward wakefulness. Your eyes may still be closed, your body still, but activity has already begun to change. During sleep, your autonomic nervous system has been regulating at a slower pace. Your heart rate is reduced. Your breathing is steady. Your body is focused on repair. This is a state where parasympathetic activity is more prominent. As morning approaches, subtle adjustments begin. Hormonal signals shift. Neural activity changes, and your body prepares to wake. This transition is gradual, not sudden. It often happens before you are aware of it. Your breathing becomes slightly more variable. Your heart rate begins to rise. Your body temperature increases. These changes support alertness and readiness for movement. Sympathetic activity begins to increase. When you open your eyes, the external world returns. Light enters. Sounds become clearer. Your attention begins to form. Your nervous system is already adjusting, coordinating perception and response. As you sit up, your body makes immediate adjustments. Blood pressure shifts to maintain balance. Your heart rate increases slightly. Your muscles engage to stabilize posture. These changes happen quickly, without conscious direction. When you stand, the adjustment continues. Gravity affects circulation, and your body compensates. This is the autonomic system maintaining equilibrium. As you begin moving through your morning, activity increases. Walking, preparing food, interacting with your environment. Each action is supported by subtle shifts in your internal state. Your breathing becomes slightly faster. Your heart rate rises. Your muscles receive more blood. This is sympathetic activity supporting movement. At the same time, not all processes increase. Some are reduced or temporarily deprioritized. Digestion may slow as energy is directed toward action. This is part of coordinated regulation. When you sit down to eat, the balance shifts again. Movement decreases, attention narrows, and parasympathetic activity becomes more prominent. Your body prepares to process food. Salivation increases. Digestive enzymes are released, and the movement of your digestive tract becomes more active. Blood flow is directed toward the gastrointestinal system. This shift is not something you command. It happens automatically, in response to context. As you continue through the day, this pattern repeats. Activity rises and falls, depending on what you are doing. Your nervous system adjusts continuously. When you focus on a task, sympathetic activity increases slightly. Your alertness rises. Your heart rate may increase. Your breathing becomes more shallow and quick. This supports concentration. When the task ends, the system begins to settle. Parasympathetic influence increases. Your breathing slows. Your muscles relax. Recovery begins. These transitions are often subtle and easy to overlook. They do not require attention, and they do not interrupt your awareness. They simply occur. If you encounter a moment of stress, the change may be more noticeable. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes faster. Your body prepares for response. This is a stronger activation of the sympathetic system. Even in this state, the system remains regulated. It is not chaotic, but organized and purposeful. It is preparing you to respond to demand. When the situation passes, the system shifts again. Activation decreases. Parasympathetic activity increases, and your body begins to return to baseline. This recovery may take time, but it happens gradually, through the same processes of adjustment. Throughout the day, your body is constantly balancing these shifts, not in large movements, but in small, continuous changes. A slight increase, a slight decrease, repeated again and again. If you pause during the day, you may notice this balance. Sitting quietly, your breathing may slow, your heart rate may decrease. This reflects a shift toward parasympathetic activity. If you then stand and move, the shift reverses. Sympathetic activity increases, supporting action. These changes are immediate and automatic. As afternoon becomes evening, another gradual transition begins. Light decreases, activity slows, and your body prepares for rest. This shift is again guided by the autonomic nervous system. Your heart rate begins to lower. Your breathing becomes deeper. Your body temperature starts to decrease. Parasympathetic activity becomes more dominant. If you eat in the evening, digestion becomes active once more. The system supports processing and absorption. Energy is directed inward. As you reduce activity and prepare for sleep, the shift continues, slowly, steadily. Your muscles relax. Your breathing becomes more regular. Your awareness begins to narrow. When you lie down, the body makes another adjustment. Circulation shifts, posture changes, and your system stabilizes in a new position. These changes happen without instruction. As sleep begins, parasympathetic activity is more prominent. The body moves into a state of restoration and repair. Breathing slows, heart rate decreases, and internal processes focus on maintenance. Throughout the night, this state is not constant. There are cycles, shifts in activity, changes in neural patterns. But the autonomic system continues to regulate, maintaining stability. And then, as morning approaches again, the cycle repeats, quietly, continuously, without requiring your awareness. This full day, from waking to sleeping, is shaped by these ongoing adjustments, not by a single switch, but by constant modulation, a continuous balancing of activity. You are not directing each change, but you are living within them, supported by a system that adapts moment by moment. As you rest here now, you are within this same pattern. Your body is adjusting. Your internal state is shifting, even if it is subtle. This is the rhythm of regulation. And within this rhythm, there is a deeper level of communication, signals moving continuously, carrying information throughout your body. Beneath these daily shifts, there is a continuous exchange of signals, not visible, but always present. This exchange is how the nervous system communicates. It is not a single message or a single pathway. It is a network of signals, moving in many directions, at many speeds. Some signals travel as electrical impulses, moving along nerve fibers. Others are chemical messages, crossing small gaps between cells. Together, they create a continuous flow of information. The cells responsible for this communication are called neurons. Each neuron is specialized, designed to receive, process, and transmit signals. They are connected in long chains, forming pathways throughout your body. A single signal begins as a small change in electrical charge within a neuron. When this change reaches a certain threshold, it becomes an action potential, a rapid electrical impulse. This impulse travels along the length of the neuron, moving in one direction, from the cell body toward the end of the fiber. The movement is fast, but not instantaneous. It follows a sequence, step by step, along the membrane. Each section activates the next. When the signal reaches the end of the neuron, it cannot continue electrically. There is a small gap between one neuron and the next. This gap is called a synapse. At the synapse, the signal changes form. It becomes chemical rather than electrical. The neuron releases molecules called neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters move across the gap and bind to receptors on the next neuron. This binding creates a new electrical change in the receiving cell, and the signal continues. This process repeats again and again, forming long chains of communication, extending from one part of your body to another. The signals do not travel randomly. They follow organized pathways. Some carry information inward, from your body to your brain. Others carry instructions outward, from your brain to your body. This creates a continuous loop. A signal is sent. A response is generated. Feedback is received, and the process repeats. This looping structure is essential for maintaining balance. For example, sensors in your blood vessels detect pressure. If pressure rises, signals are sent to the brain. The brain processes this information and sends signals back, adjusting heart rate and vessel tension. The result is a small correction, restoring balance. This happens continuously, not as a single event, but as an ongoing adjustment. The same pattern appears in breathing. Sensors detect levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Signals are sent to respiratory centers, and adjustments are made. Breathing becomes faster or slower, deeper or shallower, depending on need. These processes do not require conscious awareness. They operate through these signaling loops, automatically and continuously. The chemicals involved, neurotransmitters, vary in their effects. Some increase activity, making it more likely that a neuron will fire. Others decrease activity, making it less likely. This creates balance within the system. Signals are not only turned on, they are also regulated, shaped, and refined. This allows for precise control rather than simple activation. Timing is also important. Some signals are rapid, occurring in fractions of a second. Others are slower, influencing activity over longer periods. This combination allows the system to respond quickly and to sustain changes when needed. If you return again to your breathing, you can observe the outcome of these signals. The rhythm you feel is shaped by continuous communication between sensors, control centers, and muscles. You are not directing each breath, but it is being guided. The same is true for your heartbeat. Each contraction is influenced by signals adjusting timing and strength, responding to internal conditions. Even digestion follows this pattern. Signals coordinate the movement of food, the release of enzymes, and the absorption of nutrients. These processes are synchronized through communication. This communication is not centralized in a single location. It is distributed across many regions. Signals are processed at different levels, sometimes in the brain, sometimes in the spinal cord, sometimes within local networks. This distribution allows for efficiency and flexibility. Not every signal needs to travel to the brain. Some are handled locally, creating faster responses. At the same time, higher centers integrate information, creating coordinated responses across the body. This layered processing supports both speed and complexity. The system also adapts over time. Connections between neurons can strengthen or weaken based on activity. This is part of how learning and adjustment occur. Even within the autonomic system, patterns can shift. Responses can become more or less sensitive, depending on repeated signals. This means the system is not fixed. It is dynamic, capable of change, while still maintaining stability. As you sit quietly or lie down, these signals continue, moving along pathways, crossing synapses, creating patterns of activity. You do not feel each signal, but you experience the result. A steady breath, a stable heartbeat, a balanced internal state. These are the outcomes of continuous communication. This communication is quiet, but constant. It does not stop, and it does not rest. It is the underlying process, supporting everything your body does. And within this network of signals, there are specific pathways connecting directly to your organs, guiding their function. Your body is not silent, even when it feels quiet. Beneath stillness, there is continuous activity. Organs working, tissues adjusting, systems coordinating. This activity is guided, moment by moment, through the pathways of your nervous system. These pathways extend to your organs, reaching inward, connecting to structures you rarely notice. Your heart, your lungs, your stomach, your skin. Each one is receiving signals and responding continuously. These signals are not occasional. They are constant, forming a steady dialogue between your nervous system and your body. If you bring your attention gently to your chest, you may sense your heartbeat, perhaps faint, perhaps steady. This rhythm is not fixed. It changes slightly, moment to moment. The autonomic nervous system adjusts it continuously. Signals from the brainstem travel to the heart, influencing how quickly it beats and how strongly it contracts. These signals balance sympathetic and parasympathetic input, increasing or decreasing activity as needed. When you move, the heart responds, beating faster to supply oxygen and nutrients. When you rest, it slows, conserving energy, maintaining stability. You are not directing these changes, but they are precisely regulated. If you shift attention to your breathing, you may notice the expansion of your chest or the movement of your abdomen. This motion is guided by signals to your respiratory muscles. The diaphragm contracts, drawing air inward, then relaxes, allowing air to flow out. This rhythm is shaped by centers in the brainstem, responding to internal conditions. Levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen influence the pattern. Signals adjust the depth and rate of breathing, maintaining balance without conscious effort. At times, you can influence this rhythm by choosing to breathe more slowly. But even then, the underlying control remains active, ready to adjust if needed. Your lungs are not acting alone. They are part of a coordinated system, exchanging gases, supporting circulation, interacting with the heart, all guided through ongoing communication. If you move attention lower, toward your abdomen, there are processes you cannot feel directly, but they are still active. Your stomach and intestines are moving, slowly, rhythmically, breaking down food, absorbing nutrients. This movement is called peristalsis, and it is regulated by both local networks and autonomic signals. The nervous system coordinates the release of digestive enzymes, the timing of contractions, and the flow of material through the tract. These processes are continuous, adapting to what and when you eat. Blood flow is also adjusted, increasing in the digestive system after meals, supporting absorption and processing. This shift is guided automatically, without deliberate control. If you consider your skin, it too is responding, even when you are still. Blood vessels in the skin can widen or narrow, regulating heat loss and temperature balance. Sweat glands can activate, helping to cool the body. These responses are controlled through autonomic pathways. You may notice warmth or coolness as subtle sensations, but the underlying adjustments are precise and continuous. Your eyes are also part of this system, even when you are not thinking about them. The size of your pupils changes, adjusting to light levels. Muscles within the eye shift focus, allowing you to see clearly at different distances. These changes occur automatically, guided by neural signals. In brighter light, pupils constrict, reducing the amount of light entering. In dimmer conditions, they expand, allowing more light in. This adjustment happens quickly, without conscious effort. Even your glands are responding, releasing substances into the body. Hormones, enzymes, fluids. These releases are often coordinated with neural signals, linking the nervous system with the endocrine system. Together, they regulate internal conditions across longer timescales. All of these organs, all of these processes, are part of a larger pattern. They are not acting independently, but in coordination, guided by continuous communication. Signals travel outward, directing function, and inward, providing feedback. This creates a loop, a constant exchange. The heart informs the brain. The brain adjusts the heart. The lungs inform the brain. The brain adjusts breathing. The digestive system sends signals and receives guidance. This pattern repeats across the body. Most of this activity remains outside awareness because it is stable. It does not create strong sensations unless there is a significant change. Instead, it supports a background state of balance. If you pause again, you may notice the result: a steady breath, a calm rhythm, a sense of physical presence. These are signs of coordinated regulation. This coordination allows your body to function as a whole, rather than as separate parts. Each organ contributes, and each one is supported through the same network of signals. The nervous system does not simply send commands. It listens, receives information, and adjusts accordingly. This responsiveness is continuous. It allows your body to adapt to changes in activity, environment, and internal conditions without requiring conscious control. As you remain here, breathing gently, this entire network is active, your organs responding, your systems adjusting, all guided quietly. And within this network, there is a region that operates with a degree of independence, managing one system in particular. Deep within your body, Beneath conscious awareness, there is a network that works with a certain degree of independence. It is still part of the nervous system, but it operates in a more localized way. This network is known as the enteric nervous system. It is located along the digestive tract, extending from the esophagus, through the stomach, and into the intestines. It is made up of a large number of neurons, organized into layers, embedded within the walls of these organs. This system is sometimes described as a second brain, not because it thinks in the same way, but because it can coordinate complex activity on its own. It can receive information, process it locally, and generate responses without requiring direct input from the brain. This independence is partial, not absolute. The enteric nervous system is still connected to the central nervous system through autonomic pathways. Signals travel between them in both directions. But many functions are managed locally. If you consider digestion, it is not a simple process. It involves movement, secretion, absorption, and coordination across different regions. Food enters the stomach, is broken down, then moves into the intestines, where nutrients are absorbed, and waste is processed. Each step requires timing and regulation. The enteric nervous system helps coordinate these steps through local circuits. It regulates the contraction of muscles in the digestive tract, creating waves of movement. This movement, known as peristalsis, pushes material forward in a controlled way. These contractions are not random. They are patterned, organized, and responsive. The system adjusts based on the contents of the digestive tract, its volume, its composition, its chemical properties. Sensors within the gut detect these conditions, sending signals to local networks, which then coordinate appropriate responses. This coordination includes the release of digestive enzymes and other substances. These secretions help break down food, making nutrients available for absorption. The timing of these releases is regulated to match the progression of digestion. Blood flow is also adjusted, increasing in areas where absorption is active. This supports the transfer of nutrients into the bloodstream. Again, this regulation happens automatically, even when you are not aware of digestion. It continues, steadily, quietly, guided by this internal network. The enteric nervous system also communicates with the brain, sending information about the state of the digestive tract. Signals related to fullness, discomfort, or nutrient content can influence your awareness and behavior. At the same time, the brain can influence digestive activity through autonomic pathways. Changes in emotional state or attention can alter digestive patterns. This shows that the system is both independent and connected. It operates locally, but remains part of a larger network, responding to both internal conditions and signals from the brain. If you pause and consider your own body, digestion is happening right now. Even if you are not aware of it, processes are ongoing. Movements are occurring. Substances are being released. This is the enteric nervous system at work. You do not need to direct it or manage it. It is structured to function on its own, maintaining coordination over time. This independence reduces the burden on the central nervous system, allowing local processes to be handled efficiently, while still remaining integrated with the rest of the body. The scale of this system is significant. It contains millions of neurons, forming complex networks, capable of generating patterns of activity without direct oversight. These patterns are not conscious, but they are organized and adaptive. They respond to changes and adjust accordingly. This reflects a broader principle within the nervous system. Control is distributed, not centralized. Different regions manage different functions, while remaining connected. The enteric nervous system is one example, focused on digestion, operating with a degree of autonomy. As you continue to rest, this system remains active, coordinating internal processes, maintaining flow, supporting absorption, all without requiring attention. And like the rest of your nervous system, it participates in the balance between activation and rest, adjusting its activity depending on the state of your body. This balance can shift, becoming more noticeable in certain conditions, especially when the system is under increased demand. At certain moments in the day, the balance within your nervous system begins to shift more noticeably. The changes are still guided, still organized, still purposeful, but they become easier to feel. This shift is often described as stress, not as a single event, but as a pattern of activation within the body. Stress is not separate from the nervous system. It is one of its natural responses, a way of preparing the body to meet demand. When this response begins, sympathetic activity increases. Signals are sent through autonomic pathways, adjusting multiple systems at once. The body moves into a state of readiness. Your heart rate rises, beating faster, delivering more blood to muscles. Your breathing becomes quicker, allowing more oxygen to enter. Blood vessels in certain areas constrict, while others expand, directing flow where it is needed most. Energy is made available. Stored resources are released into the bloodstream, preparing your body for action. At the same time, some processes are reduced. Digestion slows as energy is redirected. Non-essential functions become less active, allowing focus on immediate demands. These changes are coordinated, not random. They form a pattern that supports response, whether the demand is physical or cognitive. This pattern is often referred to as the fight or flight response. But the meaning is broader. It includes any situation where the body prepares to act. It can occur during exercise, during concentration, or during emotional challenge. The intensity of the response can vary, from subtle to more pronounced. A slight increase in heart rate, a small change in breathing, or a more noticeable shift, depending on the situation. Even in stronger forms, the system remains regulated. It follows patterns, shaped by neural pathways and chemical signals. These patterns have developed to support survival. They allow the body to respond quickly and effectively to changes in the environment. If you pause and notice your own body, you may recall moments when this response has occurred. A quicker breath, a stronger heartbeat, a sense of alertness. These are signs of activation. At the same time, this response is not meant to remain active indefinitely. It is designed to rise and then fall, returning to a more balanced state. When the demand passes, parasympathetic activity begins to increase. The body shifts toward recovery. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, and internal processes begin to normalize. This return is gradual, not immediate. The system reduces activation step by step, restoring balance over time. In many situations, this cycle happens smoothly. Activation rises, supports action, and then decreases, allowing recovery. But in some cases, the system can remain activated for longer periods. This can occur when demands are ongoing, or when signals continue to indicate the need for readiness. In these situations, the body stays in a more active state. Heart rate may remain elevated, breathing may stay quicker, and recovery processes may be reduced. This prolonged activation is still part of the same system, but the balance shifts, favoring sympathetic activity for longer durations. Over time, this can affect how the system functions, not because the response is incorrect, but because it is sustained. The nervous system is designed for flexibility, for movement between states. When that movement is reduced, balance can become less stable. It is important to understand that the stress response itself is not harmful. It is a natural function, essential for adaptation. It allows you to respond to challenges and to engage with the environment. The effects depend on duration and context. Short periods of activation, followed by recovery, are part of normal regulation. Longer periods, without sufficient recovery, can shift the overall balance. This does not mean the system has failed. It means it is responding to sustained signals. Maintaining readiness over time. If you return again to your breathing, you may notice how it reflects this state. During activation, breaths may be shorter, more frequent. During recovery, they become slower, deeper. This shift is part of the same regulatory process. Your body is not switching abruptly. It is adjusting gradually, moving along a continuum between activation and rest. Even within stress, there are variations. Not all responses are the same. Some are brief, others more sustained. Some involve physical movement, others involve mental focus. But all follow the same underlying patterns. Signals increase activity, systems adjust, and the body prepares to respond. This is the role of the sympathetic system. It is not separate from calm, but part of the same balance. A different point along the spectrum. As you rest here now, your system may be closer to a state of balance, with parasympathetic activity more present. Breathing steady, heart rate calm. This is not the absence of activity, but a different form of regulation. And from this state, the system can shift again when needed, increasing activity or returning to rest. This continuous ability to adjust, to move between states, is what allows the system to function effectively. And when the body returns from activation, another process becomes more prominent, supporting restoration and repair. As activation settles, another pattern becomes more visible. Not new, but already present, moving quietly beneath the surface. This pattern is associated with the parasympathetic nervous system, a mode of regulation that supports restoration, maintenance, and steady balance. It does not replace activation, but gently shifts the body away from it, guiding internal processes toward recovery. When parasympathetic activity becomes more prominent, your heart rate begins to slow. Not abruptly, but gradually, each beat spaced a little further apart. This change reduces overall demand, allowing the cardiovascular system to operate more efficiently. Your breathing also begins to deepen, becoming slower, more regular. The diaphragm moves with a wider range, drawing in air more fully and releasing it with less effort. This pattern supports gas exchange, while also signaling a shift toward calm. Blood flow is adjusted again, no longer directed primarily toward rapid action, but distributed in a way that supports internal processes. The digestive system becomes more active, receiving increased blood supply. Movements within the stomach and intestines resume their steady rhythm. Enzymes are released, nutrients are absorbed, and energy is processed efficiently. This is not a passive state, but an active form of regulation. Muscles throughout the body begin to relax. Tension decreases, and unnecessary contraction is reduced. This allows energy to be conserved and supports physical recovery. Even small adjustments, such as changes in posture or micro-movements, are influenced by this shift. Within the nervous system, signaling patterns also change. activity becomes less rapid, more stable, and more consistent. This does not mean signals stop, but that their pattern reflects a different balance. The vagus nerve plays an important role in this process. It carries signals between the brain and many internal organs, including the heart, lungs, and digestive tract. Through this pathway, parasympathetic influence is distributed throughout the body. When vagal activity increases, heart rate slows, digestion improves, and breathing becomes more regulated. These effects contribute to a state of calm, but also to physical restoration. This state supports processes that require time and stability. Tissue repair, immune function, and energy storage are all more active in this mode. These processes are not urgent, but they are essential, maintaining the body over longer periods. If you pause and notice your breathing again, you may feel this shift. A slower rhythm, a deeper expansion, a sense of steadiness. These are surface reflections of deeper regulation. Your heart may feel calmer, your body slightly heavier, more settled. This is not inactivity, but coordinated recovery. The parasympathetic system does not act alone, just as the sympathetic system does not act alone. Both remain active, but their balance shifts. In this state, parasympathetic influence is stronger. This balance can change quickly or slowly, depending on context. After physical activity, recovery may take time, with gradual adjustments, bringing the body back toward baseline. In quieter moments, the shift may be subtle, almost unnoticeable. A gentle movement toward calm. This system is always available, not something you need to activate, but something that becomes more prominent under certain conditions. Reduced stimulation, steady breathing, and a safe environment can all support this shift. However, even without these conditions, the system continues to function, maintaining internal balance. As you move through your day, this pattern appears repeatedly. After activity, after focus, after moments of demand, the body returns toward recovery. This return is not a single event, but a gradual process, involving many small adjustments. Heart rate decreases step by step. Breathing deepens gradually. Internal processes resume their baseline patterns. Each adjustment contributes to overall stability. Over time, these cycles of activation and recovery support long-term function, allowing the body to respond when needed and restore when possible. Without recovery, activation would remain elevated, and balance would shift. Without activation, the body would not be able to respond effectively. Both are necessary, and both are part of the same system. As you rest here now, you may be closer to this state of recovery. Your breathing steady, your body supported. This is the parasympathetic system at work. Not visible, but present, guiding your body toward balance. And within this balance, there is a continuous adjustment, not fixed, but always changing slightly. Most of the time, you do not notice your nervous system, not because it is inactive, but because it is balanced. It is working continuously, adjusting in small ways, keeping conditions within a stable range. This balance is not stillness. It is constant movement, gentle shifts, fine adjustments, happening moment by moment. Your heart rate changes slightly with each breath. Your blood pressure rises and falls within a narrow range. Your breathing adjusts based on your body's needs. These variations are small, but they are continuous. This ongoing pattern is sometimes described as autonomic tone. It refers to the baseline level of activity in your autonomic nervous system. Not a fixed point, but a dynamic range. At any moment, both sympathetic and parasympathetic systems are active, neither fully on nor fully off. The balance between them shifts slightly, continuously. This shifting creates stability, not through rigidity, but through flexibility. If your body were completely still internally, it would not be able to adapt. If it were constantly changing without pattern, it would not be stable. Instead, it maintains a middle ground. Structured variation. This variation allows your system to respond quickly, when needed. A slight increase in heart rate, a small shift in breathing, can occur without delay because the system is already active. At the same time, it can return to a calmer state, just as smoothly, reducing activity, restoring balance. This ability to move between states without abrupt change is a key feature of healthy regulation. It means the system is responsive, but not unstable, adaptable, but not chaotic. Most of this happens without awareness, because the changes are small. They do not cross the threshold that would bring them into conscious perception. You notice your body when something is different, when the heart beats faster, when breathing changes, when a sensation becomes stronger. But when the system is balanced, it remains in the background. This is not absence, but quiet efficiency, a steady state of regulation. If you pause and observe your breathing, you may notice subtle variation. One breath slightly deeper, another slightly shorter. This is part of the system adjusting, not drifting. The same applies to your heartbeat. It is not perfectly regular. There are small changes in timing, linked to breathing and internal signals. This variability is a sign of flexibility, not instability. Your body is not aiming for exact repetition. It is aiming for functional balance, a range within which processes can adapt. This range can shift over time, depending on patterns of activity, environment, and experience. It is not fixed, but it tends to remain within certain limits. When those limits are maintained, the system feels stable, even if you are not aware of it. When the balance shifts more noticeably, you begin to feel it as activation or as deeper relaxation. These are larger movements along the same continuum. But most of the time, the system remains within a narrower range, making smaller adjustments that keep everything aligned. This is why the nervous system can feel invisible. It is not silent, but it is subtle. Its signals are continuous, but not intrusive. It supports your experience without demanding attention. If you consider your posture, even while sitting or lying still, there are small adjustments happening, muscles activating, then relaxing, maintaining balance. These adjustments are guided by the same system, part of the same continuous regulation. Your temperature is also being controlled within a narrow range through changes in blood flow and heat exchange. These changes are small, but constant. All of these processes together create a stable internal environment, not fixed, but maintained through variation. This is the quiet work of your nervous system, not dramatic, not noticeable, but essential. It is easy to assume that control comes from conscious thought, but much of regulation happens below that level, guided by automatic processes. Your awareness sits on top of this system, not in place of it, experiencing the results rather than directing every detail. This does not reduce your role, but it clarifies it, showing that your body is continuously supporting you without requiring constant input. As you rest here, breathing steadily, this balance is present, even if it is not obvious. Your system is adjusting, maintaining, stabilizing. And this stability allows everything else to happen. Thought, movement, perception, all supported by a foundation you rarely notice. Over time, this quiet regulation continues, day after day, without interruption. It does not require recognition, and it does not depend on awareness. It simply continues, adjusting to each moment, maintaining balance in the background of your life. And within this quiet balance, there is a final perspective to consider, one that brings together everything you have been observing. If you gather these observations gently, without urgency, a pattern begins to appear, not as a single idea, but as a steady arrangement of processes. Your nervous system is not something that turns on and off. It is continuous, present in every moment, shaping your experience quietly. It does not ask for attention, and it does not pause. It operates in the background, maintaining balance, coordinating systems, supporting your body without interruption. Throughout the day and through the night, it adjusts again and again in small, precise ways. Each adjustment builds on the last, creating a continuous flow. You have seen how activation rises when needed, how the body prepares for action through coordinated changes. You have also seen how recovery follows, not as a sudden shift, but as a gradual return toward balance. These two patterns, activation and restoration, are not opposites, but partners, moving together. One supports response, the other supports maintenance. Both are necessary, and both are always present. Even now, as you rest, there is a subtle balance between them, not fixed, but gently shifting. Your breathing reflects this. Each inhale and exhale slightly different. Your heartbeat reflects it as well. Not perfectly regular, but quietly variable. These variations are not errors. They are signs of flexibility. The system is not trying to become still. It is trying to remain responsive, able to adjust when needed. If everything were completely unchanging, it would not be stable. It would be rigid. And rigidity cannot adapt, cannot respond, cannot maintain balance over time. So instead, your nervous system maintains movement within limits, a structured variation. You have also seen how communication flows through networks of neurons, signals traveling, changing form, and continuing onward. This communication does not stop. It continues without pause. It links your brain, your organs, your muscles, your senses, into a single coordinated system. And within this system, control is distributed, not centralized in one place. Different regions manage different functions while remaining connected. Your heart adjusts its rhythm. Your lungs adjust their pattern. Your digestive system coordinates its movements, each guided and each contributing. Even the enteric nervous system, working within your digestive tract, shows this principle, operating locally while remaining part of the whole. This layered structure allows for efficiency, speed, and adaptability. It reduces the need for constant central control while maintaining coordination. If you step back slightly and consider the larger view, Your nervous system is not only responding to the world, it is also shaping how the world is experienced. The signals it sends and receives influence perception, attention, and awareness. Even before you think about something, your body has already adjusted, preparing, filtering, organizing information. This happens quietly, beneath conscious thought. It is not separate from your experience. It is part of its foundation. When you feel calm, or alert, or focused, these are not only mental states, they are patterns within your nervous system. Patterns of signaling, of balance, of coordination across the body. And these patterns are always changing slightly, adjusting to each moment. Never fixed. This constant adjustment is what allows you to move through different situations without needing to manage every detail. You are supported by a system that adapts automatically. If you notice your breathing once more, there is no need to change it. It is already being guided by this system. Each breath reflects countless signals, moving through pathways, adjusting muscles, balancing gases, maintaining rhythm. The same is true for your heartbeat, your posture, your internal processes. All of them are supported without requiring your direct control. This does not mean you are separate from your body, but that your awareness is only one part of a much larger system. A system that is already working, already adjusting, already maintaining balance. There is a quiet consistency in this, a steady presence that continues regardless of attention. You can notice it or not notice it, but it remains active, supporting each moment as it unfolds. Over time, this system continues its work without interruption, day into night, and night into day. It adapts to changes in activity, in environment, in internal state, always seeking balance. Not a fixed balance, but a moving one, adjusting continuously to what is needed. And within this understanding, there is nothing you need to do. No action required. No effort needed. The system is already in motion, already functioning, already supporting you. You can simply rest within that process, allowing it to continue, letting each breath, each moment, unfold naturally, without interference,